Hello everyone, my name is Pacha and welcome back to a new episode of Raven Creek Park. And today is the day we are building for the Swamp Puppy. We are building for the best crocodile, in my opinion, on this planet. We are building for Alligator misapsiensis, the American alligator. Not to be confused with the Chinese alligator, which we don't have, but we are building for the American alligator. One of my most favorite, I think my most favorite reptile, if I would have to choose, simply because I just love their sounds, I just love how they look, these very dino-esque appearance that they have, this very ancient appearance that they have, and yeah, the whole area they live in with the bayous and swamps of Florida, Mississippi, all the stuff down south there. But yeah, we are building for the alligator, for the American alligator that we got in the North America Animal Pack 2 years ago, I think it was. So it's pretty old. It's basically a base game animal by now. And as always, yeah, of course, Frontier nailed the design. They just know how to do reptiles and dinosaurs. Of course, they also have Jurassic World Evolution, so they have a little bit of training in that. But yeah, as you also probably have seen, this is a first part of this is the first part video, meaning there will be more videos. And as you already can see in the footage right in front of you, there are these plaster outlines of buildings that are not yet there to the left and behind the main alligator pond, I would say. And this build, because you can already see this is a around 25-minute video here, this is a big build. There's a lot planned, and so I decided to split this whole build into 3 videos. Yeah, you heard that right, 3 videos where we build in this first video we build the main outdoor exhibit for the alligator. In the second video, which will most likely release next week if nothing changes, speaking of maybe a DLC announcement or something like that, but yeah, if nothing changes, then next week we will focus on the indoor area and the indoor building, which also the guests can go into, so that will be the focus there. And then the last part, so the third part, will be kind of like a restaurant or a fast food area that will be connected to the alligator pond, and where the guests can look onto or over the alligator pond from their picnic table, so to say. So that will be the third video in the row. And yeah, because it already took so long to build this outdoor area, and I didn't want to give you like a 50-minute, if that even would be enough, maybe even a 1-hour video for this one animal, because I don't know, not everyone has the time to watch a 1-hour video or even more of that. I decided to split these into 3 parts, so there will also not be a real-time part at the end of this video. This is also important. No real-time part, no showcase at the end of this video. I will move that over to next video. So when we are when we have done the indoor area, we will do the showcase and showcasing the whole exhibit as it is in its total, so outdoor area and indoor area. So this video will only have the cinematic at the beginning of this video, so then you know how it kind of looks, and if you want to see how the whole full thing looks in the end, then I recommend you to stick around on this channel and wait for the second part next week, most likely, if, as I said, nothing comes in between. But yeah, we are building an alligator swamp, an alligator pond here. I already talked way too long while stuff has been happening in the background. We already have built the main water area. We are now building all the barriers, so we are now building some glass barriers from the outside where guests can watch the alligators from the outside on these land areas when they are beached, so to say, the alligators. That is what we're building now, and we also built this little island in the middle where I first had planned to have the mud pool on this little island, but it took up a lot of space. Sadly, it is as with every crocodilian in this game, the same problem the alligator also has, is that they need a ton of space, simply because to the hitbox and the rule that every animal has to be able to turn themselves around 360 degrees at any given time. And this means for a small animal, or for, in that case, a short animal, that is very easily done. But for an animal like an alligator or a crocodile or gharial, which usually have a long tail and also a long body, their turning radius is enormous, which then translates to them having a lot of problems with pathfinding and available space in the exhibit. So I still wanted to give them as much mobility as possible. So I decided to move that mud bath to a different spot where the guests can also maybe see them better instead of them in the middle of the habitat. And yeah, this island in the middle just becomes like a little basking spot, so to say, because we have to talk about this. This is probably my most semi-realistic habitat. I mean, it's still kind of realistic, but what I mean by that is that, of course, American alligators are cold-blooded animals. That means without the sun or without warmth, their body doesn't function and they can't regulate their own body temperature. So they need outside forces or outside temperatures to be warm enough to keep their blood pumping. And yeah, this means their reptiles in general are found in warm areas of the world, and yeah, crocodiles or alligators are not an exception from that, so they need warm climate, so to say. And we are in Oregon. And we are in the more of a northern hemisphere of the United States, so temperatures are not really tropical over here. Which then translates to that usually you wouldn't have alligators outside. You would have them in indoor exhibit to regulate the temperature to make sure they stay warm enough and are active. By the way, we are now building like a keeper post or like a keeper stand. This will be closed off later, so the keepers can go up there and then do stuff like feeding shows or other shacks on the alligators without being in the exhibit, so they can throw food in the water from there, and the alligators can feed them, and it is adjacent to the restaurant, so they can explain what they're doing, giving, as I said, feeding shows, by the way. And yeah, because of this temperature because of the temperature problem, we are now doing what we do. We are building heated rocks. This is to basically give the crocodiles, when it's a little bit colder here, some additional warmth and additional heat. So we are building now these artificial heated rocks. So I also wanted to make them look artificial as possible, so they look a little bit fake, because they are fake, and they are for heating the animal. And of course we also will have an indoor area, which will be a little bit smaller, but it will be there. Why we are now building, I'm still explaining what this with the temperature, but just a short moment, we are now building, I think it's called a rope bridge. So like a bit of a thrill-seeking adventure here. So we have this rope bridge going into the exhibit, over the alligator pond basically. And it will also be secured. There will be netting underneath, and the rope bridge will be secure. But yeah, I saw that, I think in the Texas Zoo, in a kind of way, and I also saw it in other zoos and other, I think, European zoos, and I also saw it in one American zoo, but I don't know which zoo it was anymore. I think Dallas Zoo, but I could be wrong. Or it was the Tampa Zoo, or some Florida. So if you know what I mean, there is some sort of rope bridge over the alligator exhibit in one of these zoos in the south. And that's where I took my inspiration from. But yeah, we have this rope bridge going over the alligator pond. The alligators can dive underneath it, which is really cool. And yeah, the visitors get an awesome view over the whole experience and get the ability to get inside the exhibit. But yeah, let's shortly go back to the temperature problem, because why we are building now the rope bridge. Usually you wouldn't have alligators outside in that area in Oregon. At least not all day around. It of course is clear, but usually the temperatures are not ideal for most reptiles over here, so you would usually have them, have them in indoor area. But I didn't want to build a huge indoor area, huge indoor building just for the alligators, because I really like them. I wanted to give them a nice enclosure, and I didn't want to build a huge building just to house them indoors. That just would have ruined the aesthetics of this area. So I went with this semi-realistic approach with having the heated rocks. We also will have some heat lamps at certain positions where they can warm themselves, and we have a smaller indoor area where they would be in the winter months when it's really too cold for them to stay outside. But, and this is very interesting, the alligators themselves are, I think, among the most adapted crocodiles on this planet. They can tolerate a lot of cold climate actually, and when it's getting too cold, they go in what I think it's called brumation or bromation. No, brumation, I think it's called, which is basically like winter sleep, winter stasis. They poke their nose and they poke their nose outside the water, and then they basically stay there only breathing, and that they can do for a couple of months when it's too cold, a couple of days of course, when it's too cold. And there even are reports of alligators being completely frozen under the ice. Only the nose was sticking out from the ice. There's only a little hole where the nose was sticking out, and the whole rest of the alligator was frozen under the ice, and they survived that. So alligators can survive a little bit of cold. They are not that afraid of it, I would say, and they are not that affected by the cold. Of course, when it's getting too cold, they also they will die basically, because they can't pump enough blood anymore through their body, but they can withstand some temperatures, and I think that is enough for me to say, okay, we can have this outdoor area over here, we can have this gator pond, and if it's getting too cold, we have this indoor area where we can have them for the time needed, that the temperatures get more warm again. But back to our speed build. Of course, we are basically finishing now the rope bridge, and that we have some nets underneath, so if you are stupid and if you fall down from that bridge, you fall into the net, and then you can be rescued. And we're also building now these side barriers onto the fake mud walls to also prevent people or kids from climbing onto these walls and then falling into the gator exhibit that way, which can also happen. I know in Europe we wouldn't really care about that, because we apply common sense to our guests and we say, okay, they are smart enough to not do dangerous things if we tell them not to do that. But since this is an American zoo, we have to keep that in mind. We have to keep these precautions in mind, and we have to basically assume that every guest is a total lunatic and wants to kill themselves. But now we are not building the backstage or the indoor area building completely. We are only building the facade of it. To just not have it as empty as it is right now, and to have something in the background that looks nice. As I said, in the next episode we will build the whole building behind it, but for now it's only the facade, which I designed or is planned to look like your typical building in the swamp, your typical swamp building, gator farm house in the swamp, and then the rest of the facility will be a little bit more modern looking, will be a little more up to date. This is just the facade, as I said, and the rest is more concrete and plaster and glass and stuff like that. But that we will see in next episode. And while we are now building the walls for our fake backstage area, let's talk a little bit about the conservation success story of the American alligator, because I think next to the American bison, no other animal in the Americas had such a recovery from a tragic situation like the American alligator. And this only happened not even, I think, 60 years ago, maybe 70 years ago if you want to be correct, but until 1967 the gator was on the brink of going extinct in the Americas, due to overhunting, due to hunting them for their leather due to just simply sports hunting and trophy hunting, and getting rid of them in their natural habitat due to deforestation, drying up the swamps, all that kind of stuff. In certain ranges in Louisiana, Mississippi, and Florida, in certain areas, the gator was already extinct and there was no white gator anymore. And that's when the United States said, okay, no, we have to do something. And in 1967, they listed the gator as an endangered species under a law which was the predecessor of the Endangered Species Act from 1973. But yeah, it came earlier, but they listed them as endangered species and banned hunting on them, banned habitat. They had protected the habitats the gators still lived in, and together with the United States Fish and Wildlife Service and local authorities, they managed in only 20 years, they managed to bring the gator back from nearly extinction in these areas, and even were able to introduce them back to areas where they have already went extinct. And it only, as I said, only took 20 years, and in 1987 it was removed from the endangered species list. It is now still listed as near least concern on the red list, so there is still some observation done by the authorities and by the government. And yeah, it's still not allowed really. It's allowed to hunt them in certain seasons, but only under very strict regulations. And they are also under the protection of the Convention of International Trade in Endangered Species, so you are not even allowed to trade them in certain areas. Of course, nowadays we have stuff like alligator farms, which specialize in breeding and multiplying basically alligators, so that they can be killed and harvested for the leather, which I think. Don't use real leather, buy fake leather if you really have to use that leather look. If you really need that look, how stupid it might seem, then just use fake leather and don't use something an animal had to die for. It is just stupid and it doesn't make you cool or makes you look better. But hey, at least they don't use wild gators anymore because they are still a protected species. Nowadays, you could only allowed to hunt them for sports reasons, and even then, there are very strong regulations. But still, it is a remarkable story that they managed to recover in only 20 years from basically being non-existent in certain areas anymore at all. So really cool, and shows if people really want something, if they really care for something, they can achieve great things. And I just can hope that other animals on this planet have the same story, have the same success story to tell at some point, like the American gator. But yeah, we are nearly done with this facade building. We are now building the roof. Of course, we are using some corrugated metal roofs here, which it's just, for me, it screams this typical swamp feeling, so to say. And while we are finishing that now, we are let's talk about what are the plans. And as I said, we want to have a full backstage area over here. So we will have for the guests visible backstage, where they can see the gators, where they can learn more about the animals. But I also want to maybe introduce some exhibit species over there. The American bullfrog came to mind when I was first planning this out. So maybe we'll have them. Maybe also the diamondback terrapin. I don't know yet. I also still want to do a reptile house, or cold-blooded animal house, also for amphibians. I still don't know really where I want to have that, but maybe we can bring in some of these animals here with the American gator that fits the swamp theming. And then of course this will also act as the food kitchen for the gators, the room for all the technical stuff, like the water temperature regulators and electronics and stuff like that. And then we will have our restaurant on the pier, on stilts, basically overlooking the gator area, where you can just buy some fast food stuff. Nothing too special there. We have our restaurant already, so we just need a little of a small snack shack, so to say. Now, we are building now, I think it's called a crane or a crane hook. I don't know what to call it, but it's basically where you would bring stuff from a boat, you would bring it up to then load it to other things on the dock, for example. But we will use it as an enrichment piece, not a functional enrichment, but as an enrichment piece, and we will stick some, we will have a tire on the other end of this rope, which the gators then can try to catch when they jump up. And funny enough, I learned a lot about gator enrichment when I was researching for gators. Can I have American alligators outside in Oregon, all that kind of stuff? I really didn't find an answer to that question, but I found a lot of interesting material to how to stimulate and how to enrich American alligators. And yeah, they love to play them. They really love to play with balls in the water. They love to play catching stuff from the surface and jumping up. They're really a playful species, which I wouldn't even imagine, because when you usually see a crocodile or other reptile, you usually think they are a bit, they don't move much, they mostly don't do much, so you wouldn't think that they are really playful animals. But really interesting that they also try to catch birds, of course, let me know, and they also eat fruit, funnily enough. So there was zoos that observed that their gators were jumping or trying to catch falling fruits from trees and then eating them. So they are not 100% carnivorous species. They also try to eat some food every now and then. So this is a really interesting thing to see that. And yeah, you will see now when you compare that to the beginning of the video that we now have a few more gators in here. We started with 2 gators, my albino and my one big black male that we have there. And now we have 2 more, because I also learned that American gators are a very social species. Doesn't look that like much. Usually you think a crocodile would be a solitary one, just defending their food from any other species, any other crocodile. But yeah, American gators are apparently a very social species. They like to hang around with others of their kind, share food, or patrol the waters together, so to say. So I decided to go for 4 males here, no females. We're not breeding American alligators. We don't have the capacity for that, not the rooms and stuff like that. So we are sticking with a bachelor group here, which is possible with gators and is done also in real zoos from now and then. But yeah, we are now at the end part. We are now building all the foliage, and I'm really happy how it turned out in the end. It looks really amazing. So really, I hope you will be sticking around for the part 2 of this gator mini series, so to say, because it's worth it in the end, if only for the outside area, which already looks amazing in my opinion. But yeah, I will now leave you to the rest of this speed build with some nice music, and I will say goodbye already for myself from the commentary. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I hope I see you in the next one. Yeah, maybe it's already the second part of this Gator series, this Gator episodes, or it's maybe something new. Maybe Frontier finally gave us some news to the final and last DLC. But we will see that, and yeah, until then, I wish you a great time. Enjoy the rest of the speed build and the music, and until next time, I wish you a great time. Stay safe, and bye bye everyone.